Welcome to another episode of Ghana Ground Up, where we cover everything about Ghana's evolving real estate sector. I'm Desmond Kafui, and it's good to have you here on this new episode. Over the previous episode, I shared a brief overview of the state of Ghana's real estate sector. I shared some challenges, some opportunities, some trends, and what to look out for in the times ahead. But then there is a lot happening in the space, and it's happening so quickly, and it can be really difficult to keep up. So our goal here on Ghana Ground Up is to bring you up to speed with what's going on, relevant updates, relevant information, policy changes, new development, new projects, everything about the space so you can make informed decisions. Generally, everybody has a certain mindset about real estate. When you mention real estate, people have their minds, floating around issues of high and profitable business ventures. Other people are probably thinking of very expensive and hard to attain properties and assets and all that. But all in all, there is a spot for everyone. All you need to do is find your spot and make it work to your advantage. Now, real estate in Ghana, is it growing? Is it stagnating? Is it stable? What are your thoughts? What are my thoughts? Well, here are mine. Over the past couple of years, just like in the times past, real estate has been growing steadily, and the industry has been evolving at a very fast pace. Now, considering the last, let's say, 3 years, I would dare say 4 years, but let me just limit it to about 3 years back, a lot of activity has been coming up, especially when it comes to apartment projects. Look at a place like, let's say, Airport Residential Area, or the key suspects like Laboni, Cantonments, and you are likely to see, probably from the top of my head, about 10 to 15 new projects going on at the moment. Now, is this a sign that the economy is doing well? Well, not necessarily. But then, regardless of the state of today's economy, there is a lot of activity, and you need to be aware, you need to keep up so that you can make right decisions when it comes to choosing your spot, whether you're an investor or whether you're a property seeker, you're looking for a place to make your home, or whether you're just a curious mind who wants to know about the state of the economy. Now, let's look at some factors that are influencing the growth of real estate in Ghana today. Well, there's a lot of influx of new developers, and not all these developers are locals. There are some international developers. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made in the space, and by that, I just mean that the atmosphere is good for investment. So there's a lot of good cash flow coming in from external sources, and there are a lot of partnerships between even local and foreign investors to take advantage of the booming sector. I mean, the real estate sector as we have it. So apart from the inflow of good funds, we also have urbanization. Lots of people are flocking into the heart of the city. And it's not just, people from the outskirts coming in. We also have an inflow of people from the diaspora, and that has had a very positive impact on the sector. Now, the inflow of funds from the diaspora means that there is a certain sort of niche that is defined by the specifications and the tastes of those coming from the diaspora. Mind you, those outside have seen diverse things, diverse property options and all that, and hope to have the same options available to them where they call home. So this has also driven up different aspects of the real estate sector, where you have improved and revised architecture. Even when I say revised, I mean it in a sense that normally we would, when you're looking for, let's say, a family home, you just get a very standard, very plain, and almost boring floor plan. The layout is very basic, very simple. But then lately, people are becoming very adventurous in their designs and their offers, what they're offering, the fittings, fixtures. We're even having an uptick when it comes to smart homes in Ghana. In times past, we really didn't have smart homes. When you talk about smart homes, we would just consider the CCTV, and basically that's it. But lately, with the influx of the uptick in smart homes, you can control your house from, let's say, your phone, or from voice assistants like Alexa, Siri, or Google Voice, and all these are making life easier, and they are also increasing the quality of the offerings that we have on the market. Now, back to factors influencing the economy. Generally, when there is a seeming downturn in the economy, there's also some opportunity in there for those who look closely. Now, at this time, when a lot of, some businesses are suffering, individuals are, suffering as well. I mean, they're defaulting on, let's say, facilities they've taken to, develop projects, mortgages, and all that. There are some defaults happening. And as a result, to break even or make ends meet, some people have to offload their properties. And by doing so, we're having a certain adverse effect where people are willing to let go of their property at lower rates. So those who have the funds or those who are capable are snatching up all these properties that are available for lower rates and holding on to them. As time progresses and as conditions improve, they can flip these properties and make some really good returns. So there's a lot happening in this space, but you just need to know where to look to be abreast and to catch up, and that is why we are here. In times past, the property options available by default were just houses. There were not many apartments that were on the market. More of the apartments, or maybe flats, that were available in years past were probably the SNID flats and some other flats by the government. But lately, apartments have almost dominated the construction space, where everywhere you turn, there is some apartment project going on. Now, that notwithstanding, we still have an uptick when it comes to townhomes and standard houses. But then apartments are really, really dominating the space, and you cannot ignore their presence. When you look at the hotspots like East Legon, Laboni, Cantonment, Airport Residential Area, Ridge, you would see some really amazing projects going on. These projects are not necessarily small projects, and a lot of them are quite big. By small projects, I mean maybe 40 or less. That would be a small apartment project, in my opinion. And a big project will probably be about, let's say, 100 plus units. What I see happening in the space is that a lot of big projects are coming up, and I fear that we are on the verge of seeing an oversupply in the market. Now, good supply is good when the demand meets it, but then when the supply supersedes or exceeds the demand, then that creates an issue of oversupply. Oversupply has its own effects, and a lot of them are not great. And I fear we're on the verge of seeing issues with oversupply. Now, let's look at some effects of oversupply in real estate. It's not just with Ghana's real estate, but then generally. Now, when there's an oversupply, when there are more property options than there are prospects or there are clients or buyers who can take them up, you have issues where properties are devalued because there are so many options available, and for developers to market and sell these properties, they may have to price competitively, which will probably end up eating into their profit margins. They may have to reduce prices. They may have to waive some fees. Sometimes you find developers waiving, let's say, service charges for the first year or first 2 years, just to create some form of attractive package to lure in clients. Now, by the properties losing value over time, you also have an issue where developers have a difficult time selling their inventory, selling what they have. Because look at a case where, let's say I'm a client, I'm a prospect, I'm looking for an apartment to buy, and there are so many options. I could either, let's say, play the market and then try to be smart about it, where maybe I could book one apartment somewhere and delay payments, just waiting for other projects to reach points where I can make better decisions as to whether I would stick with what I've chosen or whether I would move on to another project. Or Some may probably just wait, not maybe commit to any project at all, and try to see who comes up first and how truly different one project is from another. By doing this, as a client, you can risk missing out in the sense that, let's say if you're waiting for too long, by the time you're ready, someone may snatch up what you're looking for and you may risk missing out. So give and take, there are pros and cons, but you just need to be smart about what you decide to do. Now, still on the issue of oversupply, when there are too many options available, developers and property owners end up with a risk of vacant properties. And with vacant properties, definitely that will eat into your expected revenue. When the property is empty and is sitting idle or sitting empty for a long time, definitely the developer or the owner of that property is losing money, and you definitely don't want that to be the case. Considering the rental market, when you have a lot of properties on the market for a very long time, it sometimes can work in the favor of the client or the property seeker, where because of the high level of inventory, they can try to drive a hard bargain for the final price that they will settle for if they will take up your property. All in all, Ghana's real estate sector is booming, but you need to find your spot if you're going to benefit from it. Whether you're a developer, as I indicated earlier, or whether you are a property seeker, or whether you're just someone who wants to know what is going on, there is a lot happening and you need to tune in. And that is why you should subscribe to Ghana Ground Up if you already haven't, so as to keep up to date and be in the loop when new episodes drop. Now, beyond the episodes that will be coming up, that will be publishing on the channel, there will be a few tidbits here and there on our social media handles as well. Having considered all the aforementioned, this brings us to the point of considering some generally accepted, probably half-truths or rumors, or more rightly put, myths about real estate in Ghana. Now, I'm sure you've heard some rumors or some statements like real estate in Ghana is very expensive, it's cut out for only the rich, there are no affordable properties on the market, available options are only luxury properties and all that, and there's no land in Accra. So many, so many. But then I'd like to just highlight a few and debunk them so that you have the right information and not just, guess. Now, let's look at affordability. A lot of people say property in Ghana is expensive. In a sense, that is true. I mean, generally, property isn't cheap, but then it also depends on where you're looking. It depends on the location you're considering. Take, for instance, if you're looking for a property in East Legon or Airport Residential Area, these places are already developed, highly developed, and close to public places of interest. For example, there are schools, hospitals, banks, embassies, and all the high-profile amenities that you may want to tap into. Now, these locations definitely are premium, so they will command a high price for whatever you're looking for. Whether you're looking for a plot of land, an apartment, a house, whatever you're looking for will definitely cost a bit more. Now, let's say you are just getting started in the real estate sector. You definitely may shoot yourself in the foot if you start looking at all these high-end locations, unless you have some serious financial backing. So you're better off looking at places just right on the outskirts of the city, not too far away. For instance, Pram Pram is about 40 kilometers away from Accra. And you can get a plot of land in Pram Pram for about 100,000 Ghana cedis. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Also based on the location where you're getting that land. But then when you come to a place like East Legon, the plot of land that will cost you, let's say 100,000 Ghana cedis in Pram Pram will cost you about 20 times more when you come to a place like East Legon. Now that is a huge gap. As a starter in the space, you definitely want to count your costs, weigh the options, and then know where to peg your tent. So, is property in Ghana expensive? It depends. It's relative. The location counts, what is in the area, what is available counts. All these things constitute the factors that will determine the final price of a property. Now, look at it this way. When property developers are marketing their properties, they are quick to tell you what is available in that location. Is it the schools, is it the banks, the advantages, the road networks, and all that. All this is done to highlight the allure of that location to you. And that brings us to the second myth, where some people say location is not really important. In real estate, there are three things that are really, really important. The first is location, the second is location, and the third is location. Yes, location, location, location. And this is the truth. We cannot run away from it, and we cannot redefine it. So is location important? Yes, it really is, absolutely. You can't ignore this fact. Location, based on maybe where it is, where you're looking. If you're looking at the heart of the city, definitely you're going to pay a premium. When you're looking at the outskirts of the city, the prices will be better. When it comes to property price appreciations, definitely the properties in the heart of the city will appreciate more and faster compared to properties that are on the fringes. So you need to know where to look. You need to count your costs. You need to know how much purchasing power you have so that you can pay your tent at the right spot and reap the benefits. Another myth that is prevalent in the space is that there are no affordable homes. We understand that yes, the population is growing and there is a high demand for property. There's a housing deficit. A few years back, the housing deficit was pegged around 2 million, 2.5 billion homes. But then as it stands now, I'm sure that will be probably not less than 3 million. So there's a lot of need for homes, and more importantly, affordable homes. The average Ghanaian has an earning potential that somehow locks him out of the ranges and thresholds of luxury properties. In a certain sense, the average Ghanaian may find it difficult affording a property that costs, let's say, $100,000 to $150,000. By this, I mean from around 1 million to 1.5 million Ghana cedis. The average Ghanaian is looking for something more affordable, but then unfortunately, it's really, really difficult for developers lately to come up with affordable housing unless through the intervention of government schemes. Now, even with the introduction of government schemes and revisions of old schemes and all that, it is still difficult because when you look at factors like cost of material, cost of land, cost of getting a particular location ready. I mean, by ready, I mean serviced. Okay, like service plots and all that. All these are not the easiest lately. And when you look at the issue of land acquisition in Ghana, the complexities, the bureaucracies and all these make the possibility of coming up with affordable houses a bit of an afterthought. And it's not easy. So developers are cutting their coats according to their cloth by just focusing on what will work for them. So a lot of people are rather leaning towards the high-end side because that way, even though your cost of entry and your cost of development is high, your returns on your investment are equally high. But then when you try to target the lower end of the market, very often because the cost of entry is quite high, your returns on investment may be low. So it's not really attractive to a lot of people. Over time, we'll be sharing about some policies that the government has introduced in favor of affordable housing, and hopefully we can bring you up to speed with what options are out there so you can also see yourself as a potential homeowner. But not just see yourself, but actually become a house owner, whether you're buying land or whether you're buying an already built place with some scheme by the government. Still on some myths around real estate in Ghana, some people think that real estate is a passive investment or a passive income stream. Now, while you can make some good returns on investment from rental properties, really, it is not passive in a sense that you would have to actively manage your tenants, you have to actively manage your property, and it's so hands-on, so you can step back and watch just the money roll in without being actively involved. Those who are unable to manage the properties and tenants by themselves would normally outsource to third parties, maybe facilities management companies or property agents, to run this side of the business for them. Now, there are a lot of people who are in the game to make quick money. They really want to make a lot of money very quickly because of the potential that real estate has to command high prices, high rates, high returns on investment. For a lot of people, I would say that if you're in for quick money, then real estate is not a space for you. But then if you're willing to wait and be patient and diligent and consistent, then real estate is the space for you. There's a lot of good money to be made in the property market, but you need to be patient and you need to be steadfast. Whatever side you pick, just make sure you commit to it. If you're a property developer, it will take some time. If you're buying for investment purposes, it will also take some time for you to reap the returns on your investment. So be patient and don't treat real estate as a passive scheme. Rather, take it as an active scheme and work on it hands-on. That way you will reap the benefits it has to offer. Now, talking about the benefits, a lot of people also consider real estate as a risk-free investment. How true is this? Or is this even true at all? I would say that just like every other investment, real estate has its own inherent risks. By risks, a lot of factors can drive the risk in real estate high. You can look at, let's say, economic downturns. You can look at defaults in mortgages and loans that maybe some developer has taken to facilitate his or her project. A lot of things are happening in the space and you need to do your due diligence, get it right from the start. Don't make any assumptions, don't take anything in real estate at face value. If, let's say, you're talking to someone and you want to buy a property, don't just trust anybody and assume that I know this person and they definitely can't make a wrong suggestion, so I'll go with their word. In real estate, it doesn't work like that. Everything has to be documented, you have to do your due diligence, documents signed, and sometimes you may even have to bring in third-party systems like escrow to help you mitigate and avoid some of the pitfalls and issues that normally creep up on people. Talking about escrow, definitely we'll be sharing more about escrow services, and what it has to offer, what it stands for. Just to give you a quick idea, escrow is just a third-party service where the developer and the buyer all are accountable to. So the developer signs up for an escrow account, the client pays his or her money for the property into the escrow account, and when the terms of the agreement are fulfilled, then the escrow service provider releases the funds to the developer. That way, there is no issue of the clients coming across as, I give you money to build for me, or I give you money to buy a property, you've not fulfilled your side of the bargain, and you have my money, let me try and get my money back, issues back and forth, and all that. So we'll be talking about escrow accounts, escrow services, the available options in the country, what it stands for you, and how to navigate the terrain if you're involving escrow services in your negotiations and property acquisition process. Another risk factor to consider when it comes to real estate investment is land litigation. Some way, somehow, we've all heard stories of lands being sold more than once. So someone buys a land and has to pay other people who come along and claim ownership of that land. Even trying to get the situations resolved, the regulations and all that, everything is sort of bureaucratic. There's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of delay and all that. And there are issues when it comes to getting your documentation right in Ghana's real estate space. So this is an inherent risk, and it's something that we have to deal with. Hopefully, the times ahead will serve us with opportunities to avert some of these situations. I know there are some developments in the blockchain sector where lots of technologies are being implemented and tested for land acquisition, for example. Consider a case where beyond the Lands Commission, you have a database where you can easily locate the trail of ownership of a particular land. That way, the documents are there, the proof is there, you know who owns the land, and nobody on the side can come in and say, I own this land, in addition to whoever you've been transacting with. So some of these things are in the works, and hopefully they'll be available in the times ahead to mitigate some of the issues we are facing. So as you can see, there are a lot of risks in the space, and you really need to get it right from the start. Save yourself, invest in maybe some legal frameworks, invest in a lawyer, something that will be a covering for you when the rains come. So do the right thing, stay safe, don't take shortcuts, and as I said, get it right. You'd be happy you did. So there you have it. These are some issues that we have to keep our minds on as we navigate a space. There are risks, there are challenges, but then there is also opportunity. In fact, there are so many opportunities you can explore. And for those who feel like they've been priced out of the market, if you're not looking at a place outside Accra or outside the cities and all that, when I say outside Accra, I'm just referring to the cities, Kumasi and all these other hot spots. So please don't feel like I'm just zeroing in on a particular place. It's just widespread all around. Good information for all of us. So for those who feel they are priced out of the market, there are interventions coming on board as well when it comes to fractional ownership of properties, when it comes to real estate investment trusts, and there are a lot coming up, and we will do well to keep you up to date with new developments. Many thanks for joining me on today's episode of Ghana Ground Up. It's been an honor to share a few updates with you, and hopefully we are a bit more informed now than we were before. And I hope that some of these myths that have been debunked are no more holding a lot of weight in your minds when it comes to making the right decisions concerning real estate and your participation in the space. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and stay in the loop as we release new episodes, and do well to follow us on our social media pages as well, as we disseminate some tidbits, as we share some updates behind the scenes, what you can expect in the times ahead, and all that as a precursor to the episodes, the full-length episodes on the channel. Thank you once again. I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.